Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's show. I'm your host, Zach Drew. Welcome back to part 2 of our mini-series, The Rise of the Digital Dragon. I'm really excited about this series, pretty overwhelmed with all of the great response that we received over all the different platforms and emails. So thank you for tuning in to it. And let me tell you that it's just going to get better. I'm serious. This content is just going to be absolutely wild. I've been, one of my main passions is explaining to the body of Christ this new coming technological age that's going to change the landscape of the world as we know it. And I want to say as well, if you missed part 1, go back and watch it now. All right, we talked about how Trump's $500 billion Stargate AI project, no matter how well-intentioned, is building the infrastructure for global surveillance and control. It's the brain of the beast, a massive artificial intelligence system designed to run everything. CBDCs, smart cities, digital IDs, social credit scores. But today, in part 2, we're gonna go deeper. Because now the system is no longer just watching you from the outside. Now it wants inside of your body, under your flesh. I'm talking about the Internet of Bodies, IOB, the next terrifying step in their control grid. Microchips under the skin, smart pills that report when you swallow them, brain caps that read your thoughts, wireless patches that transmit your heart rate and emotional state 24/7. And this is no longer science fiction. This is happening right now. And once your body is plugged into the system, you are no longer a citizen. You are a device, tracked, traced, scored, and controlled. Today, we expose who's pushing this and why it connects directly to Stargate AI, and also how it fits perfectly with the Bible's warning in Revelation 13, no one may buy or sell unless they have the mark. This is coming, or excuse me, this isn't just coming, it's here. And we're going to break it down wide open right after this. I started out last week's program with the disclaimer that I am a conservative. I am a fan of our president. But that doesn't mean that there aren't mistakes being made, whether it's intentional or whether it's through, bad company surrounding him. There are things that as a student of the word, as a student of end-time prophecy, have me very worried. So like we do every show, I'm going to lay the foundation, lay the groundwork for where we're going. I want to quickly go through a quick, small checklist of Trump administration actions to date. So first on the list, digital IDs, and Andrew has these all on the screen for us. A highly precise digital ID system is essential to operate a digital control grid. The U.S. has been trying to implement this type of digital ID since the immediate passage of the Patriot Act after 9/11, with the current drive to do so happening through the Real ID system operated through the states. Real ID. And we see that our current Secretary of Homeland Security is aggressively promoting the Real ID with a misleading campaign that is trying to persuade people that they will not even be able to fly in the United States without a Real ID. And this is not correct. You see the article on the screen. We're not going to dive into that article. You can go and read that article in your own time. But yes, you can fly absolutely without a Real ID. Signs at airports and driver's license bureaus inaccurately maintain that. Starting May 7th, 2025, an unconstitutional Real ID in the works since 2005 is required to fly. However, the Real ID Act only requires a federal ID. Among other federal IDs, a passport qualifies. A number of states have mandated real ID driver's license, and many others make acquiring a non-real ID difficult. Real ID regulations allow federal agencies to require real ID for entry into federal buildings or take other agency relevant actions involving real ID. Many expect that biometric features will be added to the real ID, and that the real ID may be used to institute a social credit score or system to limit or condition receipt of federal benefits on real ID use. And why? Well, that moves to the next section. Election fraud, which is an incredibly real issue. But the solution, I don't know. The administration is citing election fraud as an excuse to push for digital IDs. I'm not a fan. The proposed Safeguard American Voter Eligibility, the SAVE Act, would amend the National Voter Registration Act to require Americans seeking to register or re-register to vote to present a real ID, compliant ID proving U.S. citizenship. People whose federal ID names, like on their passports, do not match their birth certificates would require to provide proof of name change or a marriage certificate. And on the screen you see there it is, to repeal the National Voter Registration Act. It's an issue. I just don't know if this is the right way to go about the solution. Financial data and payment systems in AI. The summary of this would be to build a digital control grid. Digital IDs must link with programmable money and interoperable systems across multiple platforms. That's banks, credit cards, online payment systems, which can be integrated with social credit and surveillance systems. The data capacity required for all digital monetary system combined with programmable money and a social credit system is significant, as are the related energy demands. Stargate LLC data centers and AI. The Stargate initiative, which we covered at length last program, involves the building out of data centers sufficient to support a complete control grid and all digital monetary system. The Stargate proposal for personalized mRNA vaccines for cancer and everything else indicates a plan to roll out the injection program sufficient to implement the Internet of Bodies and control and continue to lower life expectancy. Stargate funding also helps support the ongoing global rollout of mega vaccine factories. It is not clear how Musk's desire through Neuralink to insert mesh networks inside human brains fits in, as it appears that injections can get the system most, if not all the way to where it wants to go. And it is much easier to market injections that are good for you. Let's move to the Internet of Bodies, and then we're going to break it wide open. During the first Trump administration, the president appointed a pharmaceutical executive who was an expert in brain-machine interface to run Operation Warp Speed. Around the same time, the chief science officer at Moderna described the mRNA technology in the COVID injections as the installation of an, quote, operating system in the human body. Our interest in the Internet of Bodies as a potentially integral part of the control grid and surveillance has grown ever since. It should be noted that the administration continues to promote the COVID mRNA injections. Confusing, it just confuses me. The push is on to get the entire population online so that they can interact in an all-digital system accessible to surveillance, AI, and transaction control. Okay, now we're going to get into it. So, what exactly is the Internet of Bodies, or IOBs? Okay, so let's define it. The Internet of Bodies is when physical human bodies are connected literally to the internet through devices, implants, biological sensors, and it's already here. Okay, it's already here. Smartwatches tracking your heart rate 24/7, pacemakers that send your heart data to the cloud, insulin pumps linked to wireless controllers, smart contact lenses with built-in displays, brain chips in clinical trials. So again, what is the Internet of Bodies in the fourth industrial revolution? Play this video.
They call it part of the fourth industrial revolution.
One of the features of this fourth industrial revolution is that it doesn't change what we are doing, but it changes us.
The very idea of human being some sort of natural concept is really going to change. Up until now, the conversation we've been having is around freedom of speech. Once we can access people's thoughts and access people's emotions.
The focus, as all of you know, today is on what's now called the Internet of Bodies, involving medical implants and other kinds of devices that go inside your body and all together with the Internet as a whole comprise the Internet of Bodies.
The Internet of Bodies, or IOB, is actually an ecosystem. It's a bunch of devices that are connected to the Internet that contain software and that either collect personal health data about you or can alter the body's function. We think of the Internet of Bodies as this collection of all these devices as well as all the data that the devices are gathering about you. And in healthcare, Internet of Bodies has been around for quite a while.
So the Internet of Bodies, imagine the power of AI. What is artificial intelligence? It's a way to automate computation and cognition. So we can now automate learning, perceiving, doing computation. It's a pervasive general purpose technology that will be used in all of our industries, that will come into our professional networks, our private networks, our schools, our industries and our offices. What I wanted to epitomize with the Internet of Bodies is this notion that we will be under assessment, we will be under measure of computation in every aspect of our lives in the future. From what you eat, who you date, what you buy on the internet, how much energy you use, but also what are your vital signs, or what are you doing in terms of health, what kind of specific genetic quirks do you have, what's your genome telling about your health, about your mental health, about how well you are doing, how well you are aging, what kind of disease you are susceptible to.
It has a bit of an Orwellian twinge to it.
The RAND Corporation, as many of you know, it's a government-linked think tank, released a paper called The Internet of Bodies, Opportunities, Risks, and Governance. Okay, so if we were talking about any of these things 10 years ago, you would say this is an out-of-control conspiracy theorist. But every major institution, private or associated with a government, they're all talking about this. The Internet of Bodies, Opportunities, Risks, and Governance. They literally say, quote, the human body itself is becoming a node in the Internet of Things. And yet we're just hanging out with life. We have no idea this unbelievable thing that they're building all around us. You are a walking data point now, a track, trace, scored organism inside the machine, and we haven't seen anything yet. So how does IOB, the Internet of Bodies, complete the digital control grid? So remember what we said last week, the digital control grid needs CBDCs to control your money. It needs digital IDs to control your access, which is being pushed right now as we start at the top of the show. Stargate AI to process everything. That is going to be like the central hub. But they also need constant, real-time body data. Why? Because when the beast system goes live, they'll need to know not just what you say, but what you feel.
Can you imagine that in 10 years when we are sitting here, we have an implant in our brains, and I can immediately feel, because you all will have implants, and we measure your brain waves, and I can immediately tell you how the people react, or I can feel how the people react to your answers.
If your blood pressure spikes at a political rally, it'll be known. If your cortisol levels spike after a sermon, they'll know. If your brain waves show agitation during a government announcement, they'll know. A man's and woman's, just a man's mind, I've said before on the program, it's the last sanctuary on earth. That's where we're heading. And if they learn how to get in there, we will absolutely be in a dark age. Some articles are ready for consideration. Article 1, mind-reading devices are revealing the brain's secrets. Implants and other technologies that decode neural activity, so they can literally decode the neural activity, can restore people's abilities to move and speak and help researchers to understand how the brain works. Pretty fantastic. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing. There's going to be so much good that comes from this. But if we know our word, at what cost? National Neurological Conditions Surveillance System, NNCSS. Neurological disorders and conditions have substantial and sometimes devastating consequences for millions of people of all ages across the United States. To help address this problem, Congress authorized Centers for Disease Control and Prevention to initiate development of a national neurological conditions surveillance system. CDC received appropriate funds for NNCSS starting in fiscal year 2019. AI makes non-invasive mind reading possible by turning thoughts into text. I've talked about this article in the next one, this one right here. Mind reading technology may be used for national security. Oh, and here's the one. Mind reading technology that uses AI to transform thoughts into sentences is developed by brain scientists, giving hope to people with conditions that leave them unable to speak. This is an absolutely fascinating article. We covered it at one other point in time on the program. Just, if you're not just blown away by this article, I don't know what will shock you. Researchers from the University of California say their technology is able to translate brain activity into English word by word with the help of machine learning. It has an accuracy rate of 97%. More than twice as high as other brain signal decoding devices, and works by mapping activity of neurons to words. Wow. It records the activity of neurons and knows what words the people are saying in their brain. So the current process of giving people without a voice the ability to speak can be incredibly slow. And it requires monitoring residual eye movement or muscle twitches. That's not this though. They use these movements to mark letters that spell out words, but it is incredibly slow. But this new mind reading tech is not watching eye movement to mark letters. It is reading your neural activity, and with 97% accuracy. The study was carried out on 4 epilepsy patients who had been fitted with brain implants to monitor their seizures. Their neural activity was turned word by word into an English sentence in real time. In real time. You need to understand how amazing that is, with 0 latency. That is your mind. And that is the gold that they want. The California Gold Rush began on January 24th, 1848, and into 1849, right? When gold was discovered at Sutter's Mill, and it triggered the largest migration in U.S. history. In 1849, hundreds of thousands flooded into California, chasing that one precious resource, gold. Gold. And then after that came oil, the black gold. The fuel of empires, wars were fought over it, economies built on it. But today, it's shifting. The most valuable commodity on earth is no longer gold, is no longer oil. The most valuable commodity on earth is data. Please listen to me. Data is the new oil. Data is food for AI. Take away data, AI is non-existent. They are mining data. They are mining humans. We are the product. And we are at the infancy of that. But we are like nodes. We're going to be, It really does read like, I'm sitting here just thinking, my gosh, this literally is like a sci-fi movie. They're going to mine humans like coal. All the data, humans and their digital experience, their thoughts, our feelings, the behavioral patterns. We are the greatest natural resource on Earth. And that's why I've talked about her on the show before, Shoshana Zuboff. She's a professor of business administration at Harvard. She's wrote a couple of really famous books many years ago. She published a landmark book. It was called The Age of the Smart Machine, The Future of Work and Power. And it changed the way many thought about the impact of computerization on organizations and at work. It was a really big book for the time when she had written that. And since then, she's been setting us up for something else. Zuboff appeared to go quiet, though she was clearly incubating something bigger. The first hint was to come through a couple of startling essays, one in an academic journal in 2015, the other in a German newspaper in 2016. What these revealed was that she had come up with a new lens through which to view Google and Facebook and what they were all doing. And she came up with what they were doing, which was basically spawning a new variant of how to make money. Those essays promised a more comprehensive expansion of this big idea. And it was all about surveillance capitalism. It works by providing free services that billions of people cheerfully use, enabling the providers of those services to monitor the behavior of those users in astonishing detail, often without their explicit consent. As she puts it herself, surveillance capitalism unilaterally claims human experience as free raw material for translation into behavioral data. Although some of these data are applied to service improvement, the rest are declared as proprietary behavioral surplus, fed into advanced manufacturing processes known as machine intelligence, and fabricated into prediction products that anticipate what you will do now, what you will do soon, and what you will do later. Finally, these prediction products are traded in a new kind of marketplace that I call behavioral futures markets. Surveillance capitalists have grown immensely wealthy from these trading operations, for many companies are willing to lay bets on our future behavior. And please know this, there's going to have to be some radical changes to the law in America, because whenever we were writing the Constitution, they couldn't have ever imagined where this world was going. Because right now in 2025 as we stand, did you know that freedom of thought is not directly protected as a right in the United States? Why would it have been? Right? I mean, whenever it was written, who would have ever thought that we would have needed to protect the thoughts in our brain? Instead, U.S. First Amendment law protects a range of rights that may allow thoughts to be expressed, right? Freedom of speech, freedom of religion. And like I said, why would it be? Protected from what? Who could read one's mind? That would have been the thoughts of our founders while writing the Constitution. So let me make this clear. U.S. constitutional law provides no direct protection for freedom of thought. The day is coming sooner rather than later where brain-to-computer interfaces will be democratized in the same fashion as the handheld phone you are carrying. And your thoughts are not off the table. But don't be scared if you don't have anything to hide. Right, Klaus Schwab?
Ce nouveau monde, on doit accepter une transparence, et je dirais même une transparence totale. Tout va être transparent. Et il faut s'habituer, il faut se comporter ainsi. Ça devient, comment dirais-je, intégré dans votre personnalité, mais si on n'a rien à cacher, il ne faut pas avoir peur.
I'll go ahead and tell you, I've said it one other time. It'd be fun to get with a group of friends and we all discuss what is the wildest conspiracy theory that you believe. Because people will say that I'm a conspiracy theorist and maybe I'm just not operating in real life because I don't think with most of the things I talk about, I am, because I don't see how things can be a conspiracy theory whenever I'm pulling things, from the National Archives, from websites with a .gov address, whenever I'm playing clips from the leaders of the greatest think tanks in the world and their published material. I don't see how whenever you can call things a conspiracy whenever you have cold, hard facts. But I do have a couple of conspiracy theories that I believe. One of them that will sound absurd to you, maybe, and I can't prove it, and that's why it is a conspiracy theory. The only thing that I have to offer as any type of factual, any type of facts is my own experience. I think that there exists something, whether it's our phone or our computers or different frequencies within the air, I think that they possess some type of technology to read our thoughts right now. And I know it's a conspiracy because then when I just read the articles that they can translate things for 97% accuracy, which is fantastic. But what if it's all a ploy? Right? Let's get our tinfoil hats on. And all I'm saying is that, we started out with, iPhones and our technology saying that they don't listen to our conversations. And everybody was labeled as a conspiracy theorist whenever they said, listen, I'm talking about this random thing, and all of a sudden, I'm talking about it with my family in the living room, and then I get an ad for it within 5 minutes. Oh, you're just a conspiracy theory. And then it ended up all proving true. And, even Facebook was taken to court over it. And they said, yeah, okay, we do. And now they say, we still are. Like they don't hide it anymore. They did, and they don't hide it that they still are listening to it. Okay? So my next level of conspiracy is that they can read our thoughts, because I'm telling you right now, I'm not going to share my list, but I have written down a list over the last year or so of certain things that I have thought in my brain that I have never, ever spoken out loud. And I will be thinking it in my brain, and within 5 minutes, I will see an advertisement for it. Or I'll be scrolling through my feed, and there'll be an article about the very subject matter I was. There's been times where I will be lying in bed, and I will think, never, and I'll be thinking about in that moment. Oh, what would be an absolutely amazing invention is if such and such was invented, and it would make this easier. Never crossed my brain. And then I will somehow, in the next 5 or 10 minutes, I'll be on my phone, and there'll be an article or something that says something like, breaking or patent developed in 2000 and something is giving way to, and it will be for the thing that I was thinking. Like, or I'll be thinking, what was that actor in that movie? I can see their face, but I cannot put a name to that face. And I'm sitting there like, I don't talk to anybody, but like it's just in my own head. And then that face will come up. So-and-so's walking the red carpet. This actor or actress from the Breaking series, It's crazy. And it's a conspiracy. But I think they have some type of access right now because it's happened too many times. The first 2 or 3 times, I didn't write them down because I'm like, that's a weird coincidence. But then it started happening. I started writing them down. I don't know. I think they may be able to read your thoughts now. So who's pushing it? Let's go to the next section. Who's pushing it? And why you're the product. So who's pushing this Internet of Bodies? Well, you have the World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab's group, even though he's stepping down and currently under investigation. Things like that, people like that, the RAND Corporation, the government think tank, DARPA, right? The Pentagon's tech development arm, big pharma corporations. And don't forget, guys, it's going to be good for you. It's all going to be good for you. It's always through rose-colored glasses, right? It's for your benefit.
Unprecedented amounts of personal health data could inform treatment plans that are completely tailored to a patient's needs.
There are pills now that have an electronic sensor that let a healthcare provider know whether you have taken the medication. Other things like precision medicine. So precision medicine is the idea of creating pharmaceuticals or treatment like specifically for your body, for your personalized treatment. And I think IOB could really help with that because nowadays a lot of healthcare is based more on, average reactions, whereas with data from IOB devices, you might be able to really more precisely treat a certain disease.
As the former leader of the WEF has said before, the fusion of our physical, digital, and biological identities is coming. Once your body is online, you are no longer just a person. You are a programmable device, and they own the firmware. Most people just don't realize it yet, but your body will be a part of the internet. Open source tools now exist that can already decode brainwaves, right? I mean, spoof device IDs. They can already sync real-time health data. They can clone biometric patterns like heartbeat or even just motion. You're not just a user anymore. You're a data stream, an endpoint, an interface. Why? Surveillance capitalism. Sold through rose-colored glasses as to, what the benefits are. People like money. And there is money in surveillance data. Money in big data. Like I said, it's the new oil. Surveillance capitalism, okay. But it will one day be used to control the world, giving way to what is called the beast system.